This is the Kestrel Country Podcast, where we discuss the people, places, and events all around Kestrel Country. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Kestrel Country Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Church, joined here once again by my lovely wife and co-host, Catherine.
Hello, hello.
Coming to you on this 14th day of January. Been a beautiful day here on the Palouse. We've got a little warm up finally.
Dry
Snow
roads.
Slowly melting off.
Kind of dry.
A month from Valentine's Day.
I do love Valentine's Day.
I know, weren't you saying at Target they've got all the Valentine's Day stuff up?
I might have bought something already.
Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, yeah, beautiful day today, and happy to be coming to you all from the Kestrel office. Quick little real estate update. People are always asking us about the market and what's going on. I was just talking to a developer I'm working with and let him know that right now there's one house for sale in Moscow, one single family home. It's not quite exactly true. You know, there's some on acreage, there's a few things like that, but basically one single family house in town for sale, and it's under construction. It's not even a completed home, and pretty crazy. So very little on the market, but have hope. Things should be coming on soon. And speaking of getting things on the market, tell us a little bit about the episode that we got coming today.
So Sandy and I chatted about 5 tips to prepare your home for sale, specifically how to decorate your home for sale. And we talked about this in the episode, but the problem is once you list your house, you kind of just get into full speed ahead mode. And so thinking about decorating is probably going to be on the back burner or not even on the stovetop. And so if you are thinking about listing your home, now is the perfect time to take off those little bits at a time and get things ready, because it really does make a difference. And so that's what we were discussing today. And we
and Sandy is one of our agents here at Kestrel.
Yep.
And even if you're not going to sell your house,
it's just a fun purge.
It's a great time of year to just, exactly. Have a little refresh, a little restart, do some purging, and kind of that spring cleaning type of thing.
Well, one of the things that's been fun about staging, because we've been staging various aspects of homes that we've listed before, and it kind of makes you reevaluate your own house, and also makes you think, why didn't I spend a little bit of extra money here just to get my front porch a little bit more spruced up, because it makes a big impact on that first impression for whoever's coming to your home, even if it's just you coming home and it's just a little bit more cheerful to come home to.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, do that stuff early, right? It's so funny because I've so many times helped people kind of get their homes ready to sell. And then once they've done all those little projects that they've been putting off for so many years, then they're like, oh man, I don't know if I want to move. We actually really like this. One of the best stories was Wayne Browning, who I used to work with, told me a story about an older couple that he listed a house for, and he was going through telling them different things they should fix or change, And one of them was there was a pliers, a vice grips on one of the hot or cold water on the kitchen sink to actually turn it on, no knob. And he said, that's probably something you should change. Just go out and get a new knob for that. And the husband's like, all right, ran out to the hardware store, fixed it. Wayne told me, he said, that couple almost got a divorce over that. He said, she was so mad. He's like, I've been using those pliers for years, and it took you 10 minutes to fix it.
That's
anyway,
most of
such
those
a funny
problems.
story. And just,
it's a 10-minute fix.
Take care of it now. Don't wait till you're about to sell to do some of those fun things.
Yes. So basically, make it bite-sized pieces, and it'll make a big difference.
Yeah. Good. Well, looking forward to it, and hope you all enjoy this episode.
Good morning. This is Sandy and Catherine, and we get to talk to you today about tips for getting your home ready for listing.
And specifically, we're talking about decor. We're not talking about, going in and doing an overhaul in your cleaning, although that's important.
That's kind of number one.
But we are talking more about decor and how to make your home appealing to a broad audience. Sometimes I think the challenges can be that we see our home and we either see all the problems or we wonder why nobody would ever want to buy it because it's such a wonderful place.
Exactly. It's a tricky thing to suddenly depersonalize and start viewing your home as a product that is going to be for sale and not your home anymore.
Right.
So you want to flip that switch. And now is kind of a great time to do that before you feel a panic to get it on the market and assuming that you don't have time to implement some of these things because they make a big difference.
They do make a big difference. And as soon as you sign on the dotted line to list your home, you're going to start to feel that pressure. So if you can get yourself organized enough to do a few of these things over time, now that we're in the winter, if you're thinking of listing maybe late February, early March, if you can get a jump on these things, it'll make the whole process a little less stressful.
Much less stressful. And you can do it in bite-sized pieces and not at this point where half of your house is in boxes and then you're just scrambling because the showing is coming in 2 hours.
Right. So if you just get it to a baseline, then you can always work around everything else going on later.
And if you are doing that last minute prep before a showing, this isn't relating to the home decor, but you can grab a laundry basket and throw everything in that you don't want there and then get it in your car.
Just put it in your car. It'll be fine. You can clean it up later. It's not a big deal.
Yep.
I think the other thing to consider is if you are going to sell your home, you do not need to go out and like reinvent the wheel here.
No.
You don't need to go buy a whole bunch of new furniture. Like you're going to be moving out.
Yes.
So let's focus on your house and how we get it from, point A to point B, which is listing ready.
Yes. Ideally listing ready.
Yep.
Because sometimes there are circumstances where you just need to throw it up on the market and that's fine.
Yep.
But Sandy and I staged for a few homes or a couple homes last year, which was great. And we had the time to do it. And we did buy, trying to think if we got some small pieces of furniture, and then moved some things around, used what was there, and it really changed the look from being a home to think magazine.
Yes.
And that's a helpful tip, which I'm jumping ahead. So we have 5 tips to give you. So let's try to go through them.
That sounds good. Well, the first thing, and I think this is before the tips, you're going to want to start with something that's neat and tidy. We are not talking about that, you have to have every crumb picked up and every corner vacuumed. But if you have, you just need to get rid of the clutter.
Get rid of the piles.
It's the new year anyway.
Yep.
We're all doing it.
Yep.
So just get rid of all the clutter. Pack up anything that's not essential. Just get it out of your mind. You don't need to be thinking about the plants that you pull out in the spring or that you pull out in August. Or the wreaths, just get that all put away. It's going to bog you down. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. So put it all away. You're not going to use that.
Yep.
And like Catherine said earlier, think of it as a product.
Yep.
You're going to need to stop thinking about it as your home. Maybe you always wanted to, put up some fancy trim on that wall for years. You've been thinking about it and now's the time. Now is not the time.
No.
Like, don't worry about it. That's not going to make a difference in your ability to sell your home. It's
or
not.
Probably your price point on the home.
Exactly.
And you do have to get that mindset ready to go. Like, I am selling my home.
Yep.
And so not just, there's the people who will throw it up just to see what they could get. And that might be a different mindset, but this is, we need to sell. So we're going to do all the steps to get it sold.
Yep. And I think one of the things to consider is what makes a beautiful picture. Like step back with you. We have these handy dandy cameras we're carrying around all the time. So just take a picture of your family room. Take a picture of your master bedroom. Get it all put together, take a picture, and then be like, okay, if I were looking at a magazine, what is it specifically that makes this look good? Start there. And that does not mean you need to repaint your wall. But maybe it means that you need to change your pillow arrangement, or maybe it means that you have 4 extra pillows in the closet and you need to add those. Just start by taking a picture and thinking about what is it in the pictures that makes it look beautiful.
Yep.
And I think number 1 would be anything light and bright.
Yes.
Any picture you pick up when you open a magazine, when you get a postcard with a home in it, if it is light and bright and
airy,
yes,
you just feel there's a level of relaxation that comes with it, or almost feeling like vacation mode is on. And it appeals.
It totally appeals. And it can actually fool you into thinking that a space is even more high end than maybe it is.
Or taller ceilings than it might have. And that can be everything from hanging the right kind of curtains, a light white linen, or, or removing curtains.
Yep. But anything light and bright really does help. And then you come in and you layer in a few pops of color. You're going to want, maybe a cool piece of art on the wall, or maybe like a really pretty pillow on your sofa, just something some knickknack or even a chair, a really neat pattern on a chair.
But a smaller thing so that it's not so busy. Because imagine someone scrolling on their phone, looking at the alerts of what's new on the MLS. It's going to be small. They're not going to have a huge view. So it needs to be a picture that will draw them in.
Yep.
And the other thing on that Pops of Color is greenery.
Yep.
Every room can benefit from having a fake plant or real plant, fresh flowers. It will benefit.
Yep.
Pull open a magazine and start flipping through the pages and see how many times you see plants.
Actually, what's really funny is I went to the gym this last week and I hadn't been in a while. And I noticed that on the shelf where they keep all the towels and the spray to clean up all the equipment, they had put a houseplant out there and it's fake.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's actually amazing how much more homey that feels. Like how nice it feels. It's, it just adds a little something. And so just a little cascading, like inexpensive plant that you picked up at Marshall's. Like,
that you don't have to remember to water.
That's right. It can make a huge difference. And it does. It's amazing how much it adds to a room. You take a room that you have like everything very neutral and you add a little plant in the corner and it does make a huge difference.
It really does. And, so if you're just buying one set of things, one cartload at Marshall's, fake plants, fresh towels, and probably a couple candles.
Yep. It makes a big difference. It is. All right. Number 3 is adding some simple personality. Now, this kind of goes a little bit along the lines of Pops of Color, but maybe there's a key feature in your home. We staged a home last spring, I think is when we were spring or summer. Yeah. And they had this beautiful, like live wood bench seat.
Yes.
And we were like, this is what we want to draw attention to. Like, this is the thing. And so maybe it's that you don't need to add anything to it. Maybe you need to take away from it just so that when someone is looking at the picture, that's what they see.
Or and that might be a note to let the photographer, let your realtor know, hey, this is a really cool feature that we've loved.
Absolutely.
And make sure you highlight it.
Or another thing is there are homes that have extensive built-ins. So add tastefully to those built-ins. And this is where I think one of our later tips comes in, but just taking ideas, like looking at ideas for how to make the shelves look full, but not just stuff with loads of extra stuff.
Well, and start by shopping in your own home.
Yep.
So you go room to room and maybe you pull a few items out of your daughter's room that you're going to stick over here on all these shelves instead of, oh man, the last thing I want to do right now is go
buy a bunch of stuff.
Yes. That we're just going to get rid of.
Yep. So, shop your home and just play up something there. Like maybe you have really beautiful windows. So maybe that does mean you buy some inexpensive white curtains, but just looking at what those key features are and trying to play to those key features. Number 4 is your like bedding, towels, and linens. You're going to want, everybody has their own taste. Some people love beautiful quilts. Some people,
people love loads of color and loads of pattern and all sorts of things. And other people, it's all white.
Right. Now here you're just going to want to try to be neutral. It doesn't mean that if you have a beautiful quilt on your bed, you need to take it off, but don't then layer in 10,000 different patterns of pillow or, another quilt across the bed. Like no one is going to actually be looking at your quilt in the picture. Like your quilt is going to have a lot of sentimental value to you maybe, but when someone's looking at your picture, there's no sentimental anything going on.
No.
So try to keep that neutral. Like if you have, a patterned towel, maybe you just have 1 or 2 patterned towels hanging from the racks in your laundry, in your bathroom.
Right.
But trying to keep that as neutral. Disney, we talked about Disney.
We did.
Some girls, they just love
and
the
it's so
princesses.
fun.
Super fun.
Oh yeah, and it's a great thing, but you might need to pull that down and tone it, just tone it down. And not that you're pretending this isn't a girl's room or a boy's room or whatever, or the kids' playroom, but edit it in a way that if the kids were looking through a magazine, they would be super excited.
Yeah.
And their parents too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
And that leads us into the next thing of looking. Get some ideas. Look at magazines. Instagram is loaded.
Oh yeah.
With images that are some unattainable, but just filled with great ideas. And the most sincere form of flattery is copying. Let's all be honest. What are we doing? We're all just copying each other.
Yep. That's what Pinterest is.
That's right. And so take a look at some pictures, take a look at a magazine and look at what it is that draws your attention, and try to keep it simple.
Yeah. Well, and some of the things that we do, because we have some staging supplies, and we include things like white linens for towels, white curtains or a white bathroom shower curtain, just to swap things out, but also fake lemons, like a bowl of lemons, that colorful pop wherever you might need a little bit of something.
Yep.
It does wonders.
It does. Just a little vase in the center of the table. I mean, even honestly, if you set a table,
Yes.
and it doesn't have to be anything fancy, just put out your white dishes and some glasses and some silverware.
And maybe just a runner. You might not need a tablecloth. You don't want to overly do it. You're not setting it for Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
But you're just trying to say, welcome to this home.
Right.
And this could be your home.
This could be your home. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the goal with all your prep. Now, the other thing to take away is that if you are looking at Pinterest or Instagram, it can be overwhelming in the negative sense, where it's like, well, there's no point. My home will never, ever look like that.
Yeah. Yep.
But no, that's not really the issue. The issue is you are just trying to improve it and present the best foot forward.
Yep.
Yep.
And no two styles are the same.
No.
And so just because you're looking at Instagram does not mean that you have to revamp your entire style, the way you prefer to decorate.
Yeah.
Just make it inviting, make it look like somebody would want to make their home there. And what's amazing is that neat and tidy and keeping things simple is actually sometimes even more welcoming and more inviting
completely.
than, someone who's taking a picture and there's a pile of laundry and there's green walls and navy blue bedding and,
and they didn't bother to, neaten up the desk. And so there's a pile of papers.
Yep.
And it's small things like that actually have a big impact on someone thinking I could be here versus I'm standing in someone else's space.
Yes. Yep.
So
Agree. And I think that kind of leads us into some pitfalls. Like what are some things that, you might do from a home decor perspective
or a money waster.
Yep. Money waster, time waster.
Yep.
Any of that, I think it's really easy to look at your home and think, I just need to paint the whole thing.
Yeah.
I just need to paint
it. It needs an overhaul.
In fact, when we were listing our house in Oklahoma several years ago, we had a real estate agent tell us that we just needed to repaint everything. We needed to repaint it all white. And we were like, okay, that's actually not part of our budget.
Right.
And that's fine. You should not have to make a home that doesn't need any significant improvement also should not mean that you then have to spend $6,000 to get it ready to list.
Right. Well, especially if in our market, it's a seller's market.
It just so is.
And the new buyer, while painting your home white can have mass appeal, the new buyer might actually have a totally different, color scheme, color plan. They might love what you already have.
And any realtor worth his salt is going to tell you to look past the paint color anyway.
Yeah. So
paint color is so temporary. So don't feel like you need to up and repaint everything. I would say if you're going to use that time, you're better off to go back and patch anything little, any little places where the kids have run the laundry basket into the wall.
Right. Or the dog was, attacking the drywall.
Yes.
Fix the drywall.
Do that.
Because that's a bigger pain than someone painting.
Exactly.
And if you are going to paint one thing, paint your front door.
Yes. Agreed. Don't ignore that front porch.
No.
That's a pitfall.
Yes.
That is the first, besides looking at pictures online, when someone comes up to see your home, it's a huge first impression.
Yeah. And especially for pictures too. But when they're walking through. So whether it's toys or yard tools or whatever might be in the yard, or even just cobwebs all over the front porch, take a quick look around and say, is this ready for a picture? And those are some of my favorite pictures. I love the front door pictures. If it's a fun color, there was one lady that painted hers navy. Black is usually a great color to go for a door.
Just slap up, paint it, and then slap up a little wreath and put maybe a couple of layered mats right out front.
Yeah, the
layered mats are all the rage right now, and it does make it look just actually a little bit more high end.
It does.
You just have a couple of layered mats.
And that's one of those areas where you can put a patterned one underneath a brown one.
That's right.
That might say, could say hello, welcome, whatever it says. That is not going to be that expensive to do.
And that's worth it because it makes it's small investment, significant return.
Completely.
And anything that you can add, if you have a bigger front porch and you want to add a little Adirondack chair that you have sitting in the garage, or just bring it out from the backyard, even if it's just for the photograph. Move some of that stuff around and reuse it in the house. It doesn't. Nobody cares.
People are visual. They're going to be helped by ideas to do with the space. So what could I do with this space? Back to the bedding, that made me think. When you're simplifying, it doesn't mean that you just get rid of everything. And if you do have a busy quilt, it might be the perfect spot to throw a white throw or a cream throw on the base of the bed. Just again, that layering adds a level of vacation or comfort.
Absolutely. Coziness.
Coziness.
We all love that.
We do.
So another common pitfall is the hangings on the wall.
Yes. Artwork specifically.
Yes. Anything that you are like, we're going to put this up. We've been meaning to put it up, or this wall looks blank. Let's add something. Okay. Here is a place to read what the experts say about how to hang things properly. If you have something crooked, you're going to want to fix that. But if you have something that's hung way too high, it looks silly.
It does.
It really does visually mess everybody up.
Yeah.
And so if you're hanging stuff on the wall, or if you have something hung on the wall and you're like, oh, that's looking a little high, like
It might
read what they're suggesting. Like, you want to catch something right in the middle.
Yeah. We were just talking about this, and it's easier if you're a tall person to have that tendency to hang it higher, because that's where your eye line is. But for a lot of people, it's lower and it's the middle. We were just commenting, and I don't think I've actually seen someone hang something too low.
No. I mean, I guess if you were a little crazy.
I mean,
you were hanging
maybe.
at kids' height, but
Yeah.
Like-
but then usually it's for a set of hooks for the
That's
kids
right.
to hang their,
That's right. And so it
their
doesn't
stuff
feel
on.
awkward.
Yeah. So it doesn't.
Yep. Consult the experts on this.
Yeah.
Google that.
Yeah.
Google that. Read it in a magazine. Whatever you got to do. That's
And
key.
it is interesting to look at a magazine and say, wow, they actually put a lot of stuff on their walls. Now, that can be an art form, so don't just like randomly slap stuff up, because in a lot of ways, less is more. But if you do have a lot of stuff on the wall, it doesn't necessarily mean that's a problem.
Right.
It actually can make your picture look really good and make that wall, again, look more high end. So,
Don't replace everything.
No.
Do not feel like you need to go on a Marshall's binge and replace everything in your rooms. Like work with what you got. We are not talking about making an investment in this. You've already made an investment. Your belongings are an investment. Your home is an investment. So just work with what you have.
Yeah.
Like Catherine mentioned earlier, shop your home.
Yep.
It's probably likely that if you just moved those candle holders to this room and this lamp to that room, that it'll make a big impact.
yep. Or change the side table and maybe. Now, I will put a caveat in there. If you're doing a high end listing,
Yes.
there are certain things where it's like, nope, you need to make sure that you are staging this to match that, but every home benefits from some form of staging.
Yep. We already talked about painting staying neutral.
And forgetting the front porch. We hit that.
Yeah.
I do love the front porches.
I know. I do too.
And the planters.
I know.
Yep.
Just to add some plants.
Oh man. Plants. Yep. A lot
welcoming.
of plants.
Yes.
Yep.
So
For sure.
Anyway, I think that's all.
I think that's it. Yep. Thanks for joining us. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next week.